Emotions running high at George Mason University today as a group of pro-Palestinian students demonstrated there. So how are colleges and universities handling this uptick in protests surrounding the Israeli-Hamas war? Fox 5's Tom Fitzgerald live with us tonight. Fitz, there was actually a scene today that they're especially talking about. How are they dealing with it?
Well, what you had here was about anywhere from 50 to 75 students. They came out into the middle of the main plaza here at George Mason University today. They were protesting, they said, because they supported Palestine in the war that is underway right now between the Israeli military and Hamas. Now, this went on for about an hour, from about 1 o'clock in the afternoon till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, generally, it did not have any interruption of the activities here on campus. You know, the students said that they were here to kind of, in their view, raise awareness of the Palestinian situation in this. They did not want to talk to us on camera while this demonstration was going on today. In fact, a lot of them actually had their faces covered throughout. But this was overwhelmingly, I will tell you, peaceful but loud. However, there was an incident earlier in the day where there was a book fair going on. One of the authors that was appearing at that book fair actually made an announcement on Instagram that she was canceling her appearance on the George Mason campus today because she was concerned about the protest. Now, we did speak to the student demonstrators about this. They said, well, while it was true that they were going to be demonstrating in support of Palestine, they said they didn't even know that there was a book fair going on today, and they said they certainly did not know that this particular author was going to be there. So there was some cross-messaging about exactly why that appearance was canceled today. But, you know, Marina, this apparently had happened yesterday on the campus of American University. There have been other demonstrations across the country. It's likely, as this war is only in its beginning stages, that we are just seeing the very beginnings of what is likely to be a national amount of protests on both sides across this country on college campuses.
Without question, Fitz, and obviously this is a humanitarian issue, what's happening in Israel, in Gaza. It has been politicized, as are most, if not all, wars. We saw that happen in Ukraine as well. But right now, what is the sense from the area? We've got a very multicultural region, many universities. How are they handling this? Because we have seen some professors espouse their views one way, and that may not align necessarily with the university. Some people would rather remain more tight-lipped and not say support for either side. Not that you have to pick a side, right? I mean, this is terrorism at war, but yet still people interpret that as a pro-Palestinian or pro-Israeli view.
Look, the conflict between the Israelis and the Palestinians in that part of the world has been going on for centuries. We all know that. And, you know, these protests, you know, are going to be going on regardless of whether or not that conflict continues or not. In regards to what's been going on in these campuses, though, you know, we wanted to talk to both sides on this. We reached out to CARE, which, as you may know, is the Congress of American Islamic Relations, and we also reached out to the Jewish Council for Community Relations. And we wanted to get a sense from them. What did they make of these protests? Was there any value in this conversation being held here in the United States right now on these college campuses while war is raging? Let's start with what they agree on, Marina. The first thing that both sides agree on is they said they want these things to be safe. Mm-hmm. Tensions can run high, emotions can run high. They did here today, but there were no acts of any physical violence. There was just a lot of, you know, young people demonstrating their views loudly. Mm-hmm. And that, you know, goes along with what both the Jewish groups told us today and the Islamic groups today. I will tell you that the Council on Islamic American Relations did send out what they called a bulletin of what they said were incidents of their Islamic students being involved in discriminatory behavior by some people and warning people to report if they were run into something like this. However, George Mason University today said they took this very seriously. They had a very large show of campus police. They were, canine officers out here as well, security guards, police officers. There were no incidents, but it also made it very clear that they want to keep an eye on these, that there are no problems moving forward in the future. They want to allow First Amendment activity, but they do not want to have any problems as a result of it.
Absolutely, and we have seen protests from pro-Palestinian and pro-Israeli people in front of the United Nations in New York City for, as you say, decades now, and it seems like these won't change as long as it's done safely and under the freedom of speech tenet. All right, Tom Fitzgerald for us live in Virginia. We appreciate you. Still to come here, we're coming back to D.C. and we're talking about student loan debt after this quick break.